Mayank is B.tech in computer science, right? And he is from UP basically, and he is a senior lead quality engineering, and he has more than 5 years of experience in testing across multiple domains. His hobbies are swimming and of course speeding.
No, I hate speeding now. I had a terrible accident, which I luckily survived, so I don't drive beyond 80.
Okay, fair enough. Beyond 80. That itself is a good speed. Okay, fair enough. Gaurav is currently working as a senior QA with QA InfoTech, and he has around 5+ years of work experience in testing domains across different verticals. And he has worked on various on-site projects with Adobe for more than 3 years. He has completed his engineering from JUIT, if I'm correct, and yes, I think it's in electronics and communication.
Right.
This is just a brief about the presenters. I now hand it over to them. Yes, all yours. Again, a reminder: 20 minutes of your presentation, 15 minutes I give you a signal, 5 minutes for Q&A.
Sure.
Right? Manage your show. All the best.
Thank you so much. Hello everyone. Everybody seems a bit charged up after the tea, and so are we. I am Gaurav.
Good evening everyone, and thanks for joining us. I am MayankUpadhyay, and the topic for our presentation is ensuring quality via diverse personas. We all have a unique persona. Do you guys agree? We look at things in a different manner, each one of us. So whenever my mom is cooking something and I'm around, she asks me to taste it. If I'm writing a long email wherein I'm trying to explain a situation, I ask my colleagues to review it. Does that mean my mom is a bad cook? Of course not. That doesn't mean as well that I cannot write stuff. What we are simply trying to do here is take into account how would a third person interpret it. Having said so, I personally believe all things are subject to interpretation. If I give you a figure here and ask what it is, can someone from the crowd tell me? Yes, lady. Can you tell me what is this?
It's a heart.
It's a heart. Any more?
Mirror image.
Okay. Yeah. So if I, some of you might also say this is a leaf, but if I ask you to look beyond what's obvious, that's right, it's a mirror image of the number 2. So we all are correct in our perceptions. It's just the way we look at it. For last 5-8 years, this word quality has taken a very important part in our life. I see consumer products that say best quality. Do you think there exists anything that is best quality? Well, I don't believe so. Because for me, quality is a continuous process of improvement and enhancing from what best you deliver. So being a part of the testing domain in the last 6 years, I personally feel just finding defects in your application doesn't do quality assurance. You actually need to transform yourself as an end user and try and identify what exactly quality means to you. So this is a coat I'm wearing. For me, quality is it should fit with. For my friend Gaurav, the stitching might matter. For other people, the fabric might also matter. So we all have our own definition of quality. I remember 5 years back there was just one email service provider. Not one, there were many, but we have a lot of competition now. So it's the customer who has now the power to define quality. Something very good quality for someone might not be as good for me. So in our presentation today, we'll be talking about what is crowdsourcing, where and why it is most effective, challenges that exist across the system, what is it that we're trying to do differently at QA InfoTech, how do you build, manage and work with the crowdsource testing events that we have hosted at QA InfoTech, and that will be followed by a demo. Well, crowdsourcing is a simple combination of 2 words, crowd and outsourcing. So essentially when you outsource a task to a crowd, that becomes crowdsourcing. In crowdsourcing, you also get to utilize the expertise, time, and most importantly, resources of the people that you have engaged with. Here are 2 real practical life examples. Now, since we are a growing economy, Government of India felt the need of having a symbol for their currency. So they declared an open contest to its residents and asked them to come up with a symbol. This guy D. Pudenar won the contest, and we have a symbol in place. The second practical example being the posters that police department publishes. They publish the photographs of the fugitives on the run and ask the public to find it for them. Now, since the outreach of the crowd is so wide, each and every single person is an eye for them. So that makes their task pretty easier. Now, like everything else in this world, crowdsourcing also has its own set of limitations. It's not effective everywhere, but crowdsourced testing is most effective in applications which are more of consumer-centric rather than being enterprise-centric. Two examples being mobile apps and gaming consoles. Well, the areas wherein crowdsourced testing is not that effective is wherein you need real-time team collaboration. Now, in crowdsourced testing, there would be people across the globe, so you cannot have actually real-time collaboration between them. Now, in media testing, wherein you need CDs to be transported from one place to other, there also crowdsourced testing cannot be that effective. Now, we all have our own perspective and thinking about crowdsourced testing. There are a lot of myths in the market. Considering the time constraints, I'll discuss just two. First one is crowdsourced testing is just a supplementary technique. It cannot be standalone. Well, that's not a fact. The fact is crowdsourced testing can very well be utilized as a standalone technique. The second one being people think crowdsourcing can only be utilized for testing and not development. Well, that's not a fact. The real examples being all the open source tools that we have in market. They all have been one way or the other crowdsourced. Now, me and Gaurav have had a lot of discussions, brainstorming sessions, so that how do we come up with the challenges that exist with crowdsourced testing. And here are a few challenges that we have identified ourselves. First one and foremost being building teams from the right set of people. Now, how do you know the person you're going to engage with, who's just sitting on the other side of the computer, actually has those skill sets and expertise that you're looking for? He'll simply say, okay, I've done this. How do you know that what he's promising you is what he actually has? The second one being communication. It becomes a real task when there are 100, 150 people participating in an event. It becomes a real task to communicate with each and every individual. That sounds practically impossible. Then holding up the team, there would be times when you will not have projects for 35, 40, 45 days. So how do you hold up the team? Then now the biggest challenge is how do you ensure test coverage? Now, suppose I have participated in an event and I say I'll be doing the testing on iPad. What if I don't have the iPad? I'll simply do it on the desktop. Now the person whom I've promised would be thinking that I've done it on iPad. So that's one of the biggest challenges. Then everyone writes differently. So when there would be a lot of people, there would be duplicate issues. So streaming duplicate issues is a mammoth task, and trust me, it's very painful. So in the further slides, Gaurav would be talking about how are we trying to overcome these challenges that exist across the system. Now, back in 2010, I remember I got an email from one of my colleagues, and he asked me for my handset details. I was very astonished. Why is this guy interested in my cell phone? So I thought he has probably sent it to me accidentally. I called him up directly and he explained me the situation. There was this Rediff NG app that needed to be tested on 100 different mobile handsets. And the turnaround time we promised the client was 2 days. Now practically, even if you have the money and you're ready to acquire those 100 devices, you won't be able to get all of them in 1 day probably. So what these guys did was they sent an email to all employees of the organization. We are like 700 plus people in our organization. They sent an email to everyone, and guess what, in 2 hours they had 90 different mobile handsets with 90 volunteers ready to test it. So that resulted in a very happy and satisfied client. So what I'm trying to say, it's not that we have not done it in the past, but it's just that we're just trying to formalize and organize it more, and trying to give a platform to each and everyone wherein each and everyone can maintain their own profile and records. From here on, Gaurav would take us further.
Thank you, Mayank. That was indeed an eye-opening introduction about crowdsourcing. So by now we all have understood that how crowdsourcing has emerged as the most powerful and significant tool in ensuring quality. So for the next half of the presentation, I'll take you through the journey that how at QA InfoTech we started this initiative and how we reformed the existing system complexities for the betterment of software testing domain. So over the last 5 to 6 years, we all must have noticed a paradigm shift in software testing domain. Testing is becoming more and more challenging. We are moving away from just validations to solution providers. And someone rightly said testing is becoming more of business assurance rather than just quality assurance. I strongly believe that crowd always plays an important role in deciding the success and failure of any application. So in Jan 2013, we thought of building a portal wherein we thought that we'll gather all the needs, where we can provide a platform to our clients and the crowd testers, a trusted platform where they can share their inputs, and that's how bugmoney.com came into existence. Moving ahead, prior to moving ahead and coming to the challenges that Mayank has discussed, I'll showcase how we build up a crowd base to ensure quality. We started to putting our crowd by advertising it through various social media networks, Facebook, Twitter and LinkedIn. And once we started getting the registration requests across the globe, what we did, we tried to contact each and every individual just to make sure that how much they understand the concept of crowdsourcing and how much passionate they are about this new testing wave. After doing the profiling task, we categorize the crowd into smaller chunks based on their geographical location, the kind of devices they own, their key interest areas and so on. And this is actually a very vital step, and we have spent an ample amount of time in categorizing the crowd because we want to make sure that we have right set of people on board rather than just having numbers. And once any client approaches us with a crowdsourcing project, we first assign a project manager, and the job of that project manager is not only to understand the basic requirements of that application that needs to be tested or crowdsourced, but also to understand the potential customer base of that application. Let's suppose if that application is related to the college students, then we'll potentially ask the students to test that application. We'll reach the crowd and that aspect. And then the project managers come back to the crowdsourcing admin, and crowdsourced admin will hunt down the right set of candidates from our existing database and present with the final list of candidates who will be testing on that particular application based on their availability. And this solves the complete problem because we have identified the right set of people even prior to sending the invite, crowdsourcing event invite. And this has a brief story because we implemented this way, because I remember last year when I was testing on one of the portals, I got an event invite where I need to test a application which is in Japanese, and I have never mentioned in my profile that I know Japanese, and Mayank told me that you might look like a Japanese in your profile pic. So that's how we thought that we identify the crowd prior to sending the event invite. And this sort of model or approach helps us in creating a belief in our crowdsourced testers that you are not only just numbers, you are part of our extended family. Based on all sort of inputs and our research, we first thought that our portal is ready. Let's have a crowdsourcing event in-house and see whether our portal supports and how it behaves under extreme conditions in the live environment. So what we have done is we enrolled 200 plus testers from our existing 700 plus employee strength, and the duration that we kept for that event was only 3 hours, and you will be amazed to see the outcome of that event. We got 700 plus issues logged in just 3 hours, and if we apply simple mathematics over here, you will come to know that every single minute 3 to 4 issues were getting logged, and after refining the 700 issues, we got 100 valid and unique issues and enhancements. And there is something more to it. The winner of this event took away a cash prize of 10,000 by spending just 3 hours of his time, and this is quite huge compared to other existing market players. And because we always believe that a person should be paid according to his efforts, satisfactorily, because money is always an inspiring factor for whenever you are spending your time, because generally what people do is they go for crowdsourcing portals because they want to earn extra money or they want to learn new stuff. Both the factors should come into the picture. So money is the one that we have taken care of. Another aspect that is lagging is communication. So we have implemented a chat feature wherein during the crowdsourcing event you can always talk to the team members in case of certain downtimes, and in case you don't understand the concept, the scope of the testing, because the people that we're targeting, they are not regular testers. They are normal people, but they are the potential customer base. That's why we're targeting them. So that is another feature that we have implemented. And if you remember in the previous slide where I showed the statistics, out of 700 we only got 100 valid issues. So there were lots and lot of duplicate issues. That is another key area. We thought that we should do something about that after our first event that we have held. So we are not saying this is a short effort. This is short thing that we have doing it for restricting the duplicates. But this is something that we think will control that. So this is the demonstration. I have enrolled in one of the events created specifically for STC. And the scenario that I am trying to cover here is there are two testers, tester A and tester B. Obviously they will be located into different geographical location because of the crowdsourcing stuff. And let's suppose tester A is logging a defect which is very obvious, and all the testers, let's suppose 50 testers are testing in a crowdsourcing event, and generally crowdsourcing events are time bound. So nobody gives a chance that they'll go back, search for the issue and then log it. They simply log it out. And it's pain for the crowdsource admin to streamline those issues. So what we have done is in the right hand side pane of that screen, if you have noticed that as soon as tester B hits the submit button prior to tester A, he'll be notified on the right hand side screen, on his screen. I'll play that video again. Let's see that, because he'll be notified that the issue has been logged. If it is a similar sort of issue, he'll probably cancel it out and it will save one duplicate bug, not more, one, probably more than that. So this is just an attempt that we are trying to do that. And moreover, duplicates have always, based on our experience, that how many events that we have held, it's always been there because people generally provide the search feature outside the bug logging page. So we have integrated that's the issue, that green part. I don't have a pointer, sorry for that, so I have to point the finger. Alright, I think we all, as a testing fraternity, has done a lot of work in bringing crowdsourcing up to this level. And there is still a lot can be achieved in case we implement something new and something fresh to involve more and more people, and we need to communicate to not only to our clients but to the people that there is a significant power and impact in software testing domain if you enroll in this kind of initiative. And to conclude with, I would like to say that crowdsource testing is a win-win situation if it is performed by right set of partners, and we all being testing leaders across existing testing fidelities should step on to unleash the power of crowd. Thank you so much.
Yes, questions please. Yes.
The testing that we're talking about here, normally we have requirements where we have to, while testing we ensure that we are meeting the requirements, right? So in this case, are you also explaining the requirements to the crowd, or it's just a kind of exploratory kind of testing?
No, we do send them the requirements, we refine them. If they're not clear, we try to make them more clear. That is done by our business analyst and the crowd team. And in our portal, there's a page called Event Details page, when you can find all the requirement documents and whatever related documents are required are there. So you can go and have a look and then start testing.
And moreover, it's the usability aspect that we're trying to cover from the crowd. So that.
I would connect on that, but I was just thinking, can this be broadened enough?
Yes, it is.
The traditional system of testing, generally the requirement documents are not shared even with the consultants, only with the testing team who sign the non-disclosure agreements, etc. That legalise are there. So when it comes to crowd, how do you ensure the confidentiality of the, say, design?
That is a very valid question, and crowdsourcing always faces this challenge of confidentiality. And in case of applications like financial applications, this kind of approach will not be suitable. This is basically suitable where we are approaching the crowd, the application, let's suppose WhatsApp or some sort of applications like Facebook, Twitter, where outreach is more. So that kind of applications are quite suitable for this.
If the documents are have very sensitive data, then definitely we're not going to share it. And at times, in normal cases also, wherever we need to, put in the confidentiality, so when we change the language or something, to make it simple for the user to understand, that's it. So we do not share all the flow diagrams or anything, but we just tell them what is expected of it.
And there is always,
sorry, on the same lines, so it will be completely black box testing, isn't it?
yes, it is. It is. It is.
Okay, any other question?
What is the criteria for selecting the crowd, in the sense you select in the organization itself or even outside?
It's a hybrid model. It's a hybrid model. We go outside. I gave one example where I said we have crowd based from specific. We have tie-ups with the college and universities, where our specific students have enrolled with us because they wanted to have a sense of testing before they leave the college. And this is a platform where they can actually explore testing, get to know whether they are suitable for that, and also earn money. So that is the kind of approach we follow.
Now, at times, I'll just add to it. At times, we get requests that are region specific. Now, suppose there is an application that you want to launch in India. That is a mobile application. Now, who is the market leader in India? Samsung, right? Currently, it's Samsung. So, now what are the chances? Most of the people who would be accessing that application would be using Samsung, right? Now, it's Android. That's a different scenario. If it's hardware dependent. So we get that kind of, now the recent request that we had was for Brazil. So we had few testers registered with us from Brazil. So we asked them to do the task for us. So it comes in like region specific as well. And then domain specific.
Probably we identify the crowd and then go ahead with the process.
We have a very short handshake meeting as well at times. If the person is comfortable, we call them up. We talk about them. So, we also get an idea of what the person is exactly.
One last question. Yes.
Later.
Yeah. Offline.
Is your solution
Yes.
providing any infrastructure also? Because unlike rupee symbol and all, crowdsourcing in real world will require some real infrastructure to test against. Right? So is this
Probably he's talking about the environment required for doing the testing.
Yeah, we provide them the environment. If you're talking about the infrastructure, physical infrastructure wherein they can work, or
yeah. So if I want to test like something for my Samsung, like say some application, it needs some backend, right?
yeah. So that is most of the times provided by the clients that we have. So if someone comes to us and wants their application to be tested, they give us the URL, they set up the environment, they give us the server, and then we do it for them. It's not us who set up the environments, because they would definitely not want us to access their code base and all.
Yeah, one last question. Okay.
I want to be a crowd, or you want to concern me. How can I do that? Or how will you approach me?
We advertise on LinkedIn. We have a community. You can go and check in there. So that's okay. I mean, you're missing out something then in that case.
Send a request. I think it should be on
We
it.
can contact on Facebook.
Accept the request first. Don't ignore the
At
request.
times it works as reference as well. When we actually needed people in Brazil, we contacted some of our people there, and we were like, "Can you get us some guys from IT?" And it's very restricted in Brazil. Very few people are from IT. Not like here. So we actually had to call up people and ask them, if you know someone who's interested, then probably we can work together. Then we got some references as well then.
Yeah, I just want to add on to this. In fact, I own a franchisee of Kidsy. Okay, we run that, and just to pull in the crowd, there's a very nice correlation which is happening right now. The reach was very less. We are on FB, and we are on all the other possible things also. The reach was quite less because probably the parents did not have time to get in and look and all that. So we just threw open a contest saying, okay, put your child's photo, like the photo, and let's see who will be the best of who will win the photo contest. But the constraint that I put in there was, if you need to address the photo, you need to like our whatever the franchisee. And guess what? We had almost like 200% increase in the crowd who visited our page, and that's the reach that you get. Okay, so this is just an add-on which I wanted to give. I'm sure this suffices what we are trying to say. A very nice presentation, and thank you very much for being here. Small token of appreciation from QA. Gaurav, this is for you. Nice meeting you all. Yeah, thank you very much.